Okay, welcome to Mr. Minnick's Visual Basic Concatenation Worksheet number 1 review. A tricky part of assignments in this class, especially worksheets, is taking pseudocode and converting it to real code. So this is false code, pseudocode, false code. It's English phrases. But you find the objects that you know are going to end up being part of the real code. So we have an LBL name object. That's a label because of the prefix LBL. A message box will need to be part of the answer. And I see this string in double quotes. That will be part of the answer. And obviously a plus sign, because that's the whole purpose of this worksheet, will be part of the final answer. So let's put those puzzle pieces together and write the correct code. Okay, use the plus symbol to concatenate, which really just means glue together, what is currently stored in LBL name to the end of the phrase my name is. And after you do that, make sure the whole thing is displayed in a message box. Well, anytime you have a message box, you know it's going to be the word to the left. You'll never see something equals message box. You'll never see a message box in any other situation other than message box dot show. In fact, it's always message box dot show. So let's do that. Message box dot show. Sorry, it's a little sloppy here with this pen, but we're keeping the video nice and short. And message box dot show never works with an equal symbol. Even though some people do that incorrectly on worksheets, you never saw me do it. So no equal symbol in that kind of a statement or line of code. Rather, it's a big fat set of parentheses, as I like to say. So what is it that's supposed to pop up in a message box when we run this program? Well, let's read the question. It says, concatenate what is currently stored in LBL name to the end of the phrase my name is. So if we're putting my name is something to the end of the phrase my name is, that means my name is has to be in front. And then something that attaches to the end of it would be over here. Well, that's the whole purpose of this worksheet. For you to learn, Alexis, what the concatenation symbol does, the plus sign. So this is the whole purpose of the worksheet here. To know that when you have a plus, you need something on the left and something on the right. Now what's wrong with this? This just looks silly. Yes. It needs double quotes around it. You'll never have a phrase in Visual Basic without double quotes around it. Not in real code. And look, by the way, I put the quotes here to remind you of that, so just please do it. Do make sure there's a space here after the yes and is. Otherwise, the first letter of somebody's name, like B, will butt up against the S, and it'll look like it's part of the same word and look ugly. So little user interface details like that are important. Putting a space right here is important. There's no space here in front of the M, but there is one here. Okay, what's left? Well, I've used up the message box. I've used up this. I did the plus. I had to put the dot show in there from memory, even though it wasn't mentioned. What's left? Oh, LBL name. See, we're supposed to pretend that there's currently a label somewhere on the screen while this program runs, and somebody's name is in that label. How it got there, I don't care. But somebody's name is currently in a label, and the name of that label is LBL name. So rather than put LBL name here, well, rather than put Bob here, this program would only work for people whose name is Bob, and we don't want that. We want it to be flexible. So that's why we need to put LBL name here, so that people can type in their own name, and then whatever their name is attaches here. So we put LBL name. And now here's a mistake that some people make on a worksheet like this. They put quotes around that. Well, sorry. You did want quotes around this, but somebody in my classroom here this year, tell me why we don't put quotes there. So there you have it. There is a possible solution to number 1. Here's real code that does what this pseudocode up here tells us to do. Oh, but it's missing a point. You see, you can never have just a peanut butter sandwich. It's always got to be peanut butter and jelly. Well, you can never have a label without its friend .text. Later in this course, there will be situations where you do have dot something else. But for now, just know that it's always peanut butter and jelly. Label dot text. It's a -1 point or a squiggly underline compile error if you were to do that in your Visual Basic software. So there's the answer to number 1. Well, let's scroll down and see if any other exercises here have to do with a message box. Yes, number 3. So I will just barely outline how to do number 3. I'm not going to do it for you. The message box will always come out here, messagebox.show, I'm abbreviating, a big fat set of parentheses. You'll end up using YO somewhere in here in double quotes, and somewhere else in here you'll use the word missing in double quotes. I'm not sure where. I don't want to put the one in front of the other and mislead you. There is no label and there's no text box, so there's no like Bob typed somewhere in a label, LBL something. So it's really just going to be concatenating something with a plus, and you're putting these two together. That's about it. You should be able to do number 3 if this worksheet is assigned. But make sure it ends up being YO missing and not missing YO, because the order matters. Okay, now numbers 2 and 4, which are not message box related questions. Let's take a look at number 2 here. Well, it's pseudocode that you're being given, so let's break it down into pieces. We have a string here in double quotes. We have a label, LBL something, and we have a text box. Those are the 3 things that we're going to be putting together. Because there's no message box, it doesn't start with messagebox.show. This is the kind of exercise that you've seen on previous worksheets where there's something equals something. The question is, what do you put on the right side and what do you put on the left side? Well, pay attention closely. Use the plus to concatenate the string Mr. to the front of what is found in a text box. Well, let's pretend that we have that text box here and that the word like Miller, Mr. Miller's name, Miller is in there. But we want a Mr. to go in front of it. Well, somewhere in your answer you'll need Mr. with double quotes and Miller in double quotes. And preferably probably in that order so that they go together with a plus symbol in that order. What have I already said incorrectly here? In our final answer, will we have Mr. Miller exactly like that? Sydney? Exactly. This part of it is unknown because this should be able to work for any teacher. Zekman, Banstner, Minnick, anybody in this hallway. So how can we make this program flexible and work for any teacher that plays this version of Angry Birds? Okay. No, TXT name. You said LBL, but you meant TXT. TXT name. And he remembered the dot text. I like that. Because just like labels always need a dot text, peanut butter and jelly, you know, you can't have a text box without dot text. So that is going to be part of your answer. No quotes here around this. And by the way, put a space in here after the dot. Otherwise, the M in Miller will be butted up against the period, and that'll look bad. Okay, now the question is, this chunk that we chained together here, is it going to go on the right-hand side of the equals or on the left-hand side? And we've already used up TXT name, so how is LBL output going to be used in the big picture? Well, I'll help you with that. Because LBL output is where the final answer will need to go, Mr. space Miller, we put the thing that gets the final answer, we put it on the left. That's just the rule in Visual Basic. Your final answer, the final plate resting spot, is always on the left of the equals. And don't forget the dot text that you would always have with a label. And on the right-hand side is, well, all of this. I'm not going to take the time to rewrite this, but all of this needs to be right here to the right of the equals. And that is your final answer. LBL output dot text equals Mr. in double quotes plus txt name.text. Now when this program runs, any teacher can type his or her name in here, and it will be concatenated with Mr. I guess it's males only right now, the way this works. Any questions from this group? Okay, looking at number 4, Good luck with this one. I'm going to, if you ever are assigned this for homework, I'll let you piece it together. There's a label, there's a label. Don't forget you'll be putting .text on each of these when they appear in the real code. There's a string that you'll need in your answer. I want a hyphen symbol, so somewhere in your answer you'll need to put a hyphen inside of, you know how some zip codes are like 19610, like 1389, these last four? This problem somehow chains together 19610 plus somebody else's specific last four digits. And where does it go in the end? Oh, in the end it gets stored in LBL zip code. So that's going to be on the left. Oh, I'm kind of doing this for you. I'm in a hurry because the bell's about to ring. It's going to be LBL zip code.text equals something hyphen something. So I know I made a mess of that. Good luck with that one.